What is up out there? Welcome back to the podcast, folks. Today, we're gonna have a fun topic. We're gonna be talking about video game nostalgia. I am joined by the one and only King, and I am, of course, Ace.
I'm very surprised by the topic of this episode. I did not know that going into that was going to be the name of the topic.
I just told him like 5 minutes ago exactly what the topic was going to be because we had to do some technical stuff because it's going to be a fun, more interesting episode. If you have visuals, it'll be even more interesting. I'm going to try to make it as possible for the listeners to enjoy as well, though. I promise.
I think it'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Everything. Because he has as many visuals as y'all will, which is 0. But that said,
I think he's talking about my blind eye.
That said, how are you doing today, Dilly?
It is hot as hell.
You're
like
telling
hot,
me, man.
hot.
You're telling me.
I know you're farther south than I am, so you definitely got it. But I'm from Ohio. We're not supposed to live like this. Not in these conditions.
It gets 100 in Ohio all the time.
Yeah, I mean it's not there yet, but it's hot.
Oh, it's not even there yet? Oh, it's 100 here. Technically, the high today was 98, but with humidity, the feels like was 112. Thankfully, I don't really go outside. I'm just kidding, that's a joke. But I don't have to do.
It's so hot. It's been so hot around here. We got like one of those above ground pools, and I've been swimming at nighttime. That's white trash luxury right there.
That's some generational wealth for sure.
Above ground pool.
The funny part of that is we both know you do not have generational wealth.
What are you talking about? I just got an above ground pool.
So yeah. The topic of today, I really wanted to talk about it. We won't get straight into it, but I wanted to talk about it because I've been playing this game that I am falling in love with and is slowly climbing up the ranks to be one of my favorite. Have you been playing any cool games lately other than TEW? I know you play that.
I go through phases. I play a lot of the same games. I guess these will be on the list, so I guess I don't want to go over all of them. Mm-hmm. But the one right now, Planet Zoo, I love Planet Zoo, but I've never like done much in Planet Zoo. Like I always start games and then stop. But I'm really pushing. I'm pushing to
explain what that is. I've never heard that.
Basically, this is what I love, like management and business kind of games. So this is like you basically own a zoo and build it up from the ground up. So I had somehow there's no like aquatic animals, like there's penguins and like seals and things, but there's not like fish kind of things, you know. At home recently, I started building a fish tank, and I thought it'd be really cool to do like an aquarium thing. So I'm basically building like a SeaWorld inside of Planet Zoo, but obviously I had to download a bunch of mods and stuff. But so my goal is to use all of these animals that I got like 15 of them. I want to make sure every single one of them has an exhibit, and then I'll finish a zoo around it. That's my plan. I'm making like a SeaWorld and Planet Zoo.
So now I think I get it. So it's like the idea is like Roller Coaster Tycoon. Is it that kind of game?
Yes, or more known these days, like because there's Planet Coaster also right now.
Yeah,
which is made by the same people. They're basically the same game, but obviously the big difference is one's about roller coasters, one's about zoos, but they're almost identical.
All this game falls in the same line of City Skyline to all that same kind of game.
And see, that's a game I play. That's in the rotation as well.
I don't have the attention span. I don't want to say attention span. That's not the right word.
Commitment, I think, is the biggest thing with those games.
Except, here's the thing. I play RPGs. I play so many RPGs, and those take hundreds and hundreds of hours. It's not commitment. There's so many things you have to keep track of. I would forget this one aspect, and then that's the downfall of the whole thing.
It's bad. So with Planet Zoo, so like I had pretty much a stable zoo. So I started a good hack for Planet Zoo is if you have butterflies, they breed really quickly. So you sell them, right? So you can automatically sell them. So basically you have a bunch of money coming in from butterflies. So I set up a huge butterfly sanctuary, and then I set up like a barnyard kind of thing with like a petting zoo area. And that was how I was making my money, so I could go and start my SeaWorld adventure, right?
So you were originally you were running a botanical garden, and then you turned it into a zoo.
Basically, once I got this, I was super stable. I was making a whole bunch of money, and I went over and I started to work on making the actual main attractions. So I started making a shark exhibit first, and I was doing that. I was spending so much time working on it. And then all of a sudden, all of my barnyard animals died, and things were getting messy, and protesters started coming in. And I was like, oh my God, like I neglected this little bit for so long, but all of a sudden everything started falling apart. I literally lost thousands and thousands of dollars, and that happens.
Okay, so imagine that if I did something like that. I wouldn't be able to focus on any of the things except one aspect, probably. I'd probably be like, okay, Planet Coaster. I would probably focus on making the coolest coaster of all time and never even open the goddamn park.
And yeah, I get that too, because like a lot of my things, Planet Zoo, it's like decorating the exhibits. Like I like placing the trees and flowers and stuff. Like I like making the nature because I love nature and stuff like that. So like I spent a lot of time doing it. So I was making this like underwater area with like a shipwreck and things like that for my shark. And then everything went to shit.
Yeah.
But that's the life. I don't know. Things can be so peaceful and relaxing, and all of a sudden it's chaotic. And I think maybe that's the appeal. I don't know. Something.
You could say life is like a roller coaster.
Exactly.
The face you made was so disappointed too.
Even though I don't really play that, but I like Planet Coaster, but roller coasters, like building them, is just too much for me.
Yeah.
I can't really put my head around.
I would either have to focus on the actual building of the roller coaster, or I would just use all the pre-built ones and then focus on the park in the parking lot. I could not focus on both. How do you check how long you've been recording? Oh, I see it at the bottom. My mic was in the way. I am so new to all this, guys.
I mean, I say that, but I wasn't recording for the first 2 hours long.
I always say this. I'm totally new to this. He is the veteran here. He's been running the show, and I thank him so much for that. I want to put that out there. You probably do more for the show than I will ever be able to do, which is why I really need you to teach me some of these things. So like uploads, all on him. Any editing you guys see, mostly 97% him. I don't know how to do this shit, but I'm learning.
Blaming me because of last episode?
No, I'm not blaming you. I was very happy. So the problem with last episode was my audio.
My fault, though.
You think it was your fault, but I'm not really sure. I think it might have been both ends to a certain extent.
I don't know. I almost crashed into a tree on the way home from work that day, so we'll blame the weather.
Yeah, the weather was really bad.
Those Midwest storms.
Here we get flash floods for about an hour max, and then it's totally fine.
The weather banter, am I right?
Yeah. Anyway,
weather banter part 2 of this episode.
We'll start getting into the topic a little bit, but I'm gonna take a brief intermission to get everything right. The topic of the day: video games and nostalgia. Okay, we are back. Ta-da! We have a whole new screen for those watchers. I'm looking at a website called Topsters where you can choose all your favorite stuff.
Sponsored.
Not sponsors. I saw it on somebody's stream one day. So these are my top 5 favorite games. First
I want
of
to
all,
comment that so far this has been the most professional episode that we've done since we started.
I don't know about that, but I mean, last episode was pretty good. High production value, guys. We had a whole second set to the show. First one we got is Pokemon Legends Arceus. I struggled choosing this as my favorite game of all time. It was hard for me to make that decision. I literally have played this game so much. It's like probably not good for you. Just because I had it on my Switch Lite. For those who don't know, the completion in that, basically, you do X amount of tasks, get a star on your Pokedex. Pokemon is just, you catch enough Pokemon, you fill your Pokedex, right? But there's tasks inside the Pokedex in that game, right? I played that game so much that I maxed out that Pokedex on that Switch Lite. Well, I didn't quite max it out because I didn't catch every Pokemon because I couldn't yet. I got all 9 stars, for those who understand, without actually beating the game. I got all 9 stars, which takes about 100 hours probably. I lost that Switch Lite. I got another Switch, and then I did the same thing without beating the game. Maxed out the stars, and then I gave that Switch to my little brother, and then started a new file on a Switch OLED when that came out, maxed out. So I've just played this game so much just because the regular gameplay loop of that game is just so, I don't know, addicting to me. But at the same time, I have issues with it. So the reasons I was having big really was the recent controversies. I don't know, I'm having Nintendo troubles. You'll see a lot of these games are on Nintendo. Most later on, you'll see that the nostalgic games that I put on here are specifically when I was playing on my little GameCube with my siblings when I was like 6, 7, 8.
Can you explain what controversy is? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to get into. The issue right now with me and Legends Arceus specifically, that's the game that they're using to...
Power World.
Power World, yes, that's the one. So they sued
I don't think
Power
so.
World. It is Power World. It's
weird
Power
anime
World.
dating game. Okay. I think that there is another one.
Anyway,
there's a game called Power World that is an anime dating game, but
yeah. So Power World. Let's talk about Power World. Power World is this game I've never played, but was the most played game on Steam for a while. Nintendo was like, people were saying tons of things. They were stealing models from Pokemon, copying the models.
There's definitely ones.
There's definitely ones that look a lot like Pokemon. I will give them that. It was proven that a lot of people were trying to make it look a lot more egregious than it actually was. And Nintendo knew they couldn't sue them on that regard. So they didn't even try for that. So they tried to sue them. The other weird part about it is it's in Japan. So it's a whole different like legal system that you're working in. They're suing them for gameplay aspects.
Looks far from poker's
Right.
gameplay.
That's why that hurts my feeling. Problem is the live ability to throw a capsule at a monster and then catch it that way. They're saying that that's a copyrighted Pokemon thing. That's just goofy, in my opinion. And it's that real time moving through the world and being able to throw that ball. And so they technically do have a patent on it in Japan, right? Because
on throwing a ball?
On that particular gameplay aspect. And so now they're trying to find a bunch of different patents that they have like that, which is not a patent that you can make, I don't think, like that in the US. But in the Japanese system, it's a lot easier and a lot more protected and whatever. And there's other aspects to it that seem reasonable from Nintendo's end. I can see why they should, right? And they should fight for their stuff. But it's a very complex situation, and it just kind of sours the game for me, but I just love the game so much. It had to be my number one. I took it off, and then I put it back on, and back on. The next one on my list is probably my favorite genre of games. Not RPGs, surprisingly.
Anime dating game?
No. Risk of Rain 2 is my second game on here, and it's kind of there to represent all roguelikes. So that's probably my second most played games are all roguelikes. So Risk of Rain 2, Hades. You'll also see Risk of Rain Returns on here, the remake of Risk of Rain 1. So for those of you who don't know, Risk of Rain is one of my favorite games of all time. It's so good.
We're so different when it comes to games. I want you to know that.
Yeah. I know. It's crazy. So basically you drop onto a planet. You choose a character, you're thrown onto the planet. You pop out of your pod. You just have to survive each level until you get to a teleporter. Teleport from the teleporter to another part of the planet, and the last stage is on the moon of said planet. The point is to survive while you collect items to make like a loadout and then beat the boss at the end. It's just a fun gameplay loop. There's another funny thing about that game. That game went through a controversy recently because it got sold by the original developers Hopu. I don't know how to say it right. I've only ever read it because it's the feathers in the game. They sold the game to Gearbox. I'm sure you've heard of Gearbox before. Nope. Okay, so they're just another
games, and I don't see anything that
I think Gearbox is a
the famous Duke Nukem 3D though.
Yes, the famous Duke Nukem. I think they're owned by Valve nowadays, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. But Gearbox.
No, that's a Valve, not a Gear.
But Gearbox also helps make, I think, some of the, if I recall correctly, but I'm not sure. Gearbox owns the game now, and then they went and tried to. So this game was on Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. The PC version of it was made in a completely different game. The console version of it was made in the other engine, right? But they decided they wanted to unify the code base across the way. Were they going to make the game cross-platform? I don't know. That seems like the idea behind why you would do that. But this went so horrible. It bricked the game on the majority of platforms. Like, so bad that some Xbox players could not even open the game. Some Xbox players could open the game, except when they did open the game, all of their save data was deleted, right?
You don't need it.
So they already were kind of people were trying to gauge, like, oh, how's Gearbox gonna treat our favorite game? Like, so because the community around this game is really strong, and they care about the game a lot. Like, so there were times when I was in school, college base, and I would go to the rec center and I'd hook my Switch up to the TV in the rec center because I didn't have a TV in my dorm. Yeah. But that's what they had the TVs in the rec center for. So they already had a dock. I just had to bring my Switch. Anyway, I hooked my Switch up in there and I'd play Risk of Rain.
You did what?
I would put my Switch in there and I'd play Risk of Rain. And I would undoubtedly, every single time I played there, have like a couple people come over and ask, oh my god, is that Risk of Rain? I freaking love this game. And then I get to have a whole conversation about Risk of Rain. Yes, we are all nerds. Like I said, that's my point, in that it's a really strong community that cares a lot about the game. And so when it got sold to Gearbox, we were all like skeptical about what they were going to do, and then they released the update, it unifies the code base, ruins the game. Some people still have not gone back to the game since, which is, it's fixed now. It's a lot better now. Mm-hmm. They've continued to update it. They've given us more DLCs, and they're keeping the game alive, which feels good. And they've fixed a lot of what was bad, and they're still working on it every day. And they brought some developers back to work on it, so it feels like they do actually care. But it did not feel like they cared initially. It feels like they said, this this is good enough. Copy pasted everywhere. And
So this
then,
reminds me of another situation. So I do want to say, but you
yeah,
can
go
go ahead
ahead.
and finish. Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
go
pretty
ahead.
much done. That's my story. But yeah, that's Risk of Rain 2 and my love for it. In that time, I will say in the time that Risk of Rain 2 was bricked, they had just released Risk of Rain Returns. And so that was my bread and butter during that period while Risk of Rain was bricked. So at least there was that. And Risk of Rain Returns is a phenomenal. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so that reminds me. So there was in 2018, so there was WWE 2K18, and this was a very famous incident where they wanted to put it on the Switch.
Oh yeah,
So
that's always an issue.
they ported the game as it is over to the Switch.
Oh no.
Except they toned down the graphics. The game was unplayable. It was bad. It
Yeah.
crashed. It was slow. Nothing worked. So 2K, I feel like, I mean, from what it seems, we're just like, let's sweep it under the rug. We'll forget about it. There was no more commercials about it, no mentions of it in like actual WWE, nothing.
Yeah.
Well, Switch 2 comes out.
Uh-huh.
The game finally works. Like people that had it on Switch, the first Switch, it ported over to Switch 2. No one touched the game. They didn't update the game.
Yep, yeah.
But
so
they played it on Switch 2 and it worked.
so when did it come out for Switch?
I think it was not much later after the first game came out, after the original. So it was like 2017. I'd say towards the end of 2017, I'd say.
That's crazy. But anyway, point being, yeah, so that happens with a lot of games on Switch apparently.
Because the Switch is not that kind of console.
The Switch is, with all due respect, I love my Switch. I was very mad about my Switch. So we'll get into that in a second. So okay, I will talk about it right now because Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on Switch is notorious for how awful that game runs, how glitchy that game was on launch and still continues to be. Like, there are times, like, you could just be playing the game, even today, like, and trying to enjoy the game. And it's a fun game because it's Pokemon, so it's fun by that. But it'll just crash.
Story, though. That's a different story, though, because that game was made for that.
Yeah, I think so. Honestly, I think specifically Scarlet and Violet was made for Switch 2. They just didn't have the Switch 2 in their hands yet.
Okay.
Because there is a Switch 2 port of it now, right? And they've updated it and all that shit. But what if they should have just waited? They should have just waited. But it's fine because hopefully, I mean, I'm not gonna get it because, so I'm kind of at this point where I'm kind of boycotting Nintendo Switch. It makes me mad. Just which, if you've heard any of the news, like why it would make me mad is kind of valid. But at the same time, like,
I felt for a long time that Nintendo was really scummy, and I feel like
it's been scummy
worse
for
than
so
most
long.
of the industry.
Right,
The
it's
industry
been
itself is
scummy
bad,
for
but-
so long, and they've been leading the scummy behavior for so
Yeah.
long. Right, every time a new thing comes along, it's scummier than the last, and it started with Nintendo. That said, like, I enjoyed the game so much that I could not fathom not getting a Switch 2, right? At first, Jesus, I don't know if you heard that. That was disgusting. Okay, good. But anyway, I digress. That said, Switch, and especially Pokemon, have so many issues, and Pokemon on the Switch has had so many issues since day one. Even though the best Pokemon game on Switch, hot take, the best Pokemon game on Switch is the first one that came out on Switch. Let's go. Eevee. It's so frustrating because, like, there's so many reasons why that's frustrating, but it's also the reason why I almost got a Switch 2. I almost did. I almost caved and was like, let me just get one. But then I loaded up my Switch the other day to try to play Minecraft with my brother. This should be easy, right? And then I log into Minecraft, and Minecraft is like, you don't have a Nintendo account. What is a Nintendo account? Who's Nintendo? And I'm like, I'm on my Switch. It should. And I'm connected to the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is not seeming to have any problems. So I try to load up the Nintendo Online app that's on the little home page, right? I don't think I know what a Nintendo server is. Who's Nintendo? And I'm like, this is the Nintendo Online app. Why can I not connect to the Nintendo servers? So I tried troubleshooting for hours why I could not connect to Nintendo servers. In my head, Nintendo just bricked my Switch so I would get a Switch too. Right? Which is like, obviously, conspiracy, like, goofy. My Switch is working today. Like, I literally was just using it an hour ago. But that's like the main reason why I decided, nah, fuck it, I don't need one. And then the secondary reason is why I brought up this topic today, because instead of getting a Switch 2, what I did get was a Nintendo
Which 3?
3DS. Nintendo 3DS. I bought one, a Japanese one, and then I just modded it, because if you buy a Japanese one, they're fairly cheap considering everything. And then, granted, I only recommend you do this if you're gonna download and play games that you already own, have already bought, right, for legal reasons. But that said,
Or I'll call cops.
that said, that gives me access to every single game that I've owned, from Game Boy to Game Boy Color to Game Boy Advance games to DS games to 3DS games. Like, I can play all of those natively, basically modded.
It's a good thing my
Nintendo
phone is my
DS.
camera. I'd be calling the cops right now.
It's a good, like, I can literally do that on my Nintendo. And if you want to see my collection, like, I'll show you someday. But I actually own all of these games just because I'm a nerd and I bought all of these. It's really only Pokemon games for the most part that I wanted to play, right? But I can play literally Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, literally every single generation of Pokemon games I can play through my
And Jennifer.
through my Nintendo 3DS XL. And so I'm like, what do I need a Switch 2 for? But I got all these games right here. And I'm becoming a bigger and bigger proponent of, yeah, we have all these games. Let's play our retro games that we actually own, instead of giving more money to this company that's saying we don't even own the games anymore. We just own a license to play the game. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what would Doug Bowser?
Doug can Bowser miser. Anyway.
Bowser, I barely knew her.
I
think so. That was the episode. I hope you guys.
No. Anyway, third on my list of favorite
awful.
games. I'm gonna go a little quicker now. We've talked too much already about Nintendo. So anyway, my third favorite game of all time, it's called Outer World. It's made by the same people who made this, basically, to my knowledge, the same dev team that made Fallout New Vegas, which I have never played. Huh? Yes, Obsidian, which I've actually never played. Which I've actually never played for New Vegas, but that is on my list of games I need to play. So I will be getting to that very soon. But I love that game. It's one of those. It's like, it's one of those Skyrim type games. One of those. I like it better than those games.
It's like the new Bethesda game. I was gonna make a reference. But,
it's just like that game, but
before.
Yeah, and it's definitely, I think, like, people didn't love that game, to my knowledge. Starfield? Yeah. But I would recommend you guys try this game, especially if you were excited about that game and you didn't.
Is there like spaceships and stuff in that one that you can?
So unfortunately, there's not as much of that aspect. There's only one ship. But you do have your one ship and you have your own crew, and it's pretty cool. But it's definitely more story driven and all that. But if you want a space type game for the ships and stuff, then play that was No Man's Sky, bro. Play that. That's a good game.
Remember when No Man's Sky came out and how bad
Yeah.
publicity it got, but all of a sudden it became like one of the
the thing.
best games of the
It's
time.
It's one of the best comebacks of any game ever, bro, because it did start
That and
with
Cyberpunk.
nothing. Right. That too. It did start with nothing. They just kept building it. Right, which I think it should have started probably just like a free-to-play beta test. The way it came out should have been a free-to-play beta test, because they clearly had more things that they wanted to do with it, and they went a fantastically cool direction. And nowadays, like I said, it's one of my favorite games. One of a lot of people's favorite, right? It didn't make this list for other reasons. I didn't play it. I didn't play it until I was like 20. Good game. If you want Starship-based stuff like that, then play that game. But or there's this one game that my brother was telling me about. Oh, I can never remember what it's called, but it's a space game that's also really, really good. That's mostly about the
Space
ships and
Invaders.
stuff. Perfect Dark? No, nothing like it was definitely not that.
I'll
ask him. I'll have to ask him. And then I'll get back to you guys. But that said, if you want a cool space adventure, it's
Dark
a game
Souls.
also very, very much about not Dark Souls at all. Very much about atmosphere and morality, and it had a lot of themes to it, and Roddy is my favorite character of all time. Anyway, I digress. One of my favorite games. Another one of my favorite games. A game, this is probably up there for nostalgia reasons, and so is the number 5, but I've just Assassin's Creed 2, right? For real. I feel like every Assassin's Creed after Assassin's Creed 2 they were trying to do as good, make a game as good as Assassin's Creed 2. Like, respect, until they started redoing the formula and all that. And I played those games too, and I tried those games, and I just couldn't play them. I
That's
don't
not
know.
the best one, but we'll get to that on my list.
Oh, okay. In my opinion, that's the best one, but
It's
maybe
a
it's
good
just
one
because
though.
I
It's a
have.
really good one.
In my opinion, it's the best one, but maybe it's just because I have too much nostalgia for like the Ezio era of games, because I
get
played all of those, and I played those
Ezio was
heavy.
definitely the best. He was definitely the best assassin, but he
Right.
wasn't the best. It wasn't the best game in my opinion.
Right. I can see that for sure. But I 100%ed that game after, like, I opened the game. The day I opened the game, the weekend I opened the game, I played through it and probably didn't do anything else. And then it probably took me max a month of playing that game on and off. This is why I was in school, obviously. Like in probably elementary school.
Doesn't
Probably
sound
middle
like it.
school.
You were playing Assassin's Creed 2.
Probably middle school. I was playing this game. So probably what it was is because I remember I did the same thing for Assassin's Creed 3, which I loved, and I almost put on this list, but then I was like, nah, I like which is Assassin's Creed 3. I love that game too. But I think what it was is I would go to my dad's for the summer in Canada, and respectfully, homie,
Canada.
yeah. Respectfully, homie still wasn't really there. So he just gave us video games. So I spent so much time in the summer playing video games. And just that's all I would do all summer is sit at his house and play video games. And he wasn't there. But and I'd play with my siblings. My siblings, right, were there. But that's how I experienced probably 100%ing all of Assassin's 2 and Assassin's 3.
If you want to complete video games, at a more rapid pace, just have an absent father. I heard that works.
There you go. That's the right answer. So the other thing though that I did, oh snap, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, anyway. So I actually didn't finish the original Assassin's Creed. Like, I meant to 100% it forever ago, but I did not 100% it until 2023, 2024. The other day is when I first 100%ed all of the original Assassin's Creed. That's true. I played it. I just didn't 100% it like I do most games. I don't even think I finished it the first time I picked it up. But
I'm talking about the year and the day. It's not the other day.
Oh, you know what I mean. That's the other day, like metaphorically speaking, in comparison to when I was in middle school playing Assassin's Creed 2. Anyway, point being, also a phenomenal game.
It's just wrong. The metaphor is just wrong.
You want to fight, dude? But anyway, point being, I really love Assassin's Creed 2. It's my favorite of the Assassin's Creed games, which I played a lot of all of them. Not all of them, but most of them, especially the ones in the Ezio era. And last on this list, we have Luigi's Mansion, which, oh my god, this is the only game that I was allowed to play on my own when we had a GameCube.
Too scary.
On my own, as in, like, because I had so many siblings, we'd play. So now we can jump to the bottom of the list since we're talking about the game. I don't know if you could see this earlier when I showed you the screen. The last game on the list is The Incredibles.
I don't even remember the game for that.
So yeah, it's a GameCube game, but it's not even. So there was 2 GameCube Incredibles.
It's like 100% a game that I would own, but I know I didn't own it.
So yeah, The Incredibles Rise of the Underminer was a sequel to the movie that only released on GameCube.
It's fire.
Right. And it was one of the only games that I could play. It was one of the many games that we could play as siblings. I'm pretty sure it might have been more than that. We would just take turns, me and my brother, and then my sister and my other brother, because there was 4 of us, right? On to the fact that there were 4 of us. The 4 of us could together play Shrek 2. Shrek 2 on the GameCube, bro. One of my, like, I have so many memories of playing that game. I loved that game. Probably for not a good reason. Mostly because whenever we play that game over and over again from beginning to end, like, it's really not that long of a game, to my memory. But the part where Fiona has to sing to the birds and make them explode, no one else could do but me. So I had to do that every single time, and that was so fun. I just love that, and that's like one of my favorite memories of that game. And then another game we used to play, I think this one was actually, because there was a couple of games here that are on PS2. So Avatar: The Last Airbender was also on GameCube and PS2 actually. But I originally played it on GameCube, and then when my stepdad moved in, he brought a PS2, and so we got to play it on PS2. I love that game. That game, I think, is a single player game. I don't remember. Phenomenal game. Like, not really phenomenal game, but as far as Avatar games go, that's probably the best one. Mostly because those of you who know, Avatar: The Last Airbender video games don't have a great track record. Also, we have Fantastic Four. That game was definitely on PS2. I remember going to our friend's house to play that game, who lived next door. That was one of the only games that was also one of the only games that all four of us could play together. And that game was really fun. So those are my nostalgic, like, back in the day, like, games. Like, I was in all of these games, most of these games I was playing third grade and below. So, damn, those games really, like, I had to search the recesses of my memory to come up with those games. But also, Luigi's Mansion, because we did have Super Mario Sunshine, which I considered putting on this list, but, my Super Mario Sunshine for me was that game that my big brother got to play and I had to watch. So there is nostalgia there. It's just not the same as the game that I got to play, which was Luigi's Mansion. Which I played that's probably like the only game that I ever played because back then I probably would almost never finish a full game other than the dang Shrek 2 game like I was talking about, which I would finish only because I was playing with my siblings, right? But I genuinely think I remember beating that game. I was in third grade, which is crazy, but I just loved that game so much, and I would just play the hell out of that game. And then what solidified it as one of my favorite games of all time, really though, was probably the last year that I went to Canada, which was 2017 maybe. I asked my dad, I was like, hey, do you still have the GameCube? And he was like, yeah, I do. And found it, and I pulled it out, and I played Luigi's Mansion from beginning to end, and I 100%ed it, and I realized, damn, this is actually one of the greatest games of all time, in my opinion.
GameCube stuck around longer than your dad did.
Anyways, Luigi's Mansion 2 it's a classic, true classic. I literally love that game to death, so much that I got it as well on 3DS when it came out, even though playing it on 3DS would not recommend it. Unless you have the Circle Pad Pro, which no one has the Circle Pad Pro. But anyway, a wonderful game. If you have not played that game, find yourself a GameCube and educate yourself because it's a wonderful, amazing freaking game. But yeah, those are my top 5 favorite games of all time. So, just to chat a little bit about some of the other games on this list, before I pull up the list and start doing yours instead. We got Minecraft, like, damn, like, duh. I was just talking about how I was playing Minecraft the other day. Pokemon Platinum, which is probably my favorite of the main series games. I'm not counting Arceus in this because it doesn't have the same main series sorry, I don't know how to breathe. But so that's probably my favorite Pokemon game, and that just represents all the ones for me, but it's mostly only my favorite for nostalgia reasons because it's the first one that I played through where I could actually read. And then we got Bravely Default, which is the game that I'm playing right now which I bought at a GameStop. And I was like, I have to try this game because everyone says this game is so good. And it recently came out on Switch 2. It's one of the it was one of the launch titles for a remake for it is one of the launch titles for Switch 2. But the thing about it is there are so many things on this game is tailor-made for the Nintendo 3DS. It uses and abuses like it just utilizes so well every aspect of that system. Like the 3D, I've never seen the 3D look good in any Nintendo 3DS game ever. It looks phenomenal in that game. Like, and that's just like one aspect of it. I literally what I've been doing for the last 24 hours, basically, not really, other than sleep, is play that game because it's just so good. And I want to make a larger review about it, but I'll do that at some point. And then Metroid Prime. Story about that game. That was a game I wasn't allowed to play because I was a little too young.
Man,
because
I can't remember her name, bro. But first crush.
Samus Aran. Yeah, that's valid. But anyway, Metroid Prime. Wow. I didn't really in full until I watched my dad play it all the time when we were kids. This is third grade and under. Again, right. I was like, what the hell is this game? It's so weird and aliens and it's so cool. But I was obviously just a child. When it came out on Switch, and it was $20. See, that's what they should do. Like, you have the game sitting around somewhere, just release the game and let people play it on modern platforms, and then I will not then I'll buy a Nintendo Switch 2. If you release every one of your old games for $30 max, because you have these games sitting on a hard drive somewhere, just collecting dust. It costs you $0 basically to let us play those games on Nintendo Switch. You don't have to port them there like you did Prime. That was awesome. That was awesome that you did that. You have emulators built in on the Switch for all of your systems at this point, basically. Except for, come on, man. Come on. It's just like has always been, for a long time, has been pretty anti-consumer. Nintendo also built its brand being the consumer brand. Like, that's what the Wii was. It wasn't a gamer product. It was a consumer product. That's what the DS was. It wasn't a gamer product. It was a consumer product. Everyone had a DS. But nowadays, I mean, everyone still has a Switch. You have a PS5, you have an Xbox One, you still got a Switch. So I guess they're still winning.
I mean, nearly all the games you listed were on Nintendo devices, so I think you're part of the problem.
So, funny story about that. This is where the rest of the games on this list come in. So I have Borderlands 2 on here, Spider-Man. This Spider-Man PS4, even though Spider-Man PS4 is representing a game that actually is not Spider-Man PS4. So there's a game that no one played, that barely anyone knows about, called The Amazing Spider-Man 2 on the PS3. I played the shit out of that game. That was one of my favorite games. It plays almost identically to the brand new Spider-Man games. Like, it had that Arkham Asylum type combat and stuff. It was also Spider-Man, and so it was sick. The graphics were horrible. Like, they were probably decent for PS3 standards, right? But the ability, that's the original game, kind of. That you could swing around freaking New York City the way you could swing around New York City in Spider-Man PS4. Oh, man, that game was so good. Anyway, also, Little Big Planet 2, which I would play with my siblings all the time. That game, classic, freaking awesome. Also, Little Big Planet 1, but Little Big Planet 2 holds just a much bigger place in my heart. I think it's just, yeah, it was just a overall improvement. And then here's a strange game that I don't see a lot of people talk about, but I played the hell out of. It's specifically Prince of Persia, but not the Prince of Persia that most people know about. This particular Prince of Persia is the Prince of Persia where the dude goes around with the princess. I don't even think he's considered a prince most of the game, but it's like a companion game. Oh my god, it's awesome. I have to do a playthrough of that game and talk about that game. I freaking love that game so much.
That unlocked a memory for me, and I don't know if it's the same one. I used to play a Prince of Persia game, and I hated it, but I always played it.
So I'll show
I
you
have no idea.
and it was probably on Xbox 2, that the game I'm talking about.
This one was on the original Xbox, because I remember I got like a box, like my parents brought like a set at a garage sale, because this was like Xbox 360 era, but I got the original Xbox. And I remember how you saying that, I like got the smell of what the game cases all smelled like.
Oh my god, I feel it, bro. So Prince of Persia that you remember probably is the one that looks like this guy. I don't know if you can see
Yes, it was that. I think it was that one. I'm pretty sure it was that one.
Right. The Prince of Persia that I played,
he just pulled it up right away.
If I could even find it. Yeah.
There's a lot of them. I didn't realize there were so many.
This is the Prince of Persia I played. I'm showing him, guys. The one I played is the one with the guy in the cover who has a really long scarf thing, and a blade, and he's in like a claw-handed thing, and he's flying across the cover art all dynamically. I don't know why. It makes me mad that they named that game also just Prince of Persia, even though it's like it doesn't feel related to the series basically at all. It has the same gameplay.
Oh no.
Similar-ish gameplay, but
I tried to put it on my screen, but everything went.
One of my favorite games of all time is that I spent so many hours playing. I don't think I ever actually finished that game because I wasn't really good at games back then, but I loved that game so much. I did finish the Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 on and I also played Borderlands 2, I believe, on PS from beginning to end. I don't know if I ever played Borderlands 1, but I got the Borderlands 2 Game of the Year edition for sure, whenever that came out. But man, Borderlands 2 is also low-key one of the greatest games. And then Borderlands 2 is also probably the reason why I am not a Destiny gamer. I do not play Destiny. A person who's ever played Destiny. I did, though, the Destiny demo on my PS3. I shit you not, I probably spent like 70 to 100 hours just playing the Destiny demo, all the replayable levels on PS3, because I loved that freaking game. Not the game, like I would have probably loved it, but it was a little too MMO-y for me to be spending like whatever X amount of money, and then they not even be able to experience content that they already kind of quote unquote moved past or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think the Destiny concept was really weird and
Right.
dumb.
Destiny is a mess. So it's like it's literally an MMO. It's literally just an MMO, but you have to pay a whole lot more money to play it. Which is kind of frustrating, and it's like makes it so much harder to get into nowadays because a lot of MMOs, like you can get into at any time and play the first quest that was designed for the MMO, right? For you to play the first quest, right? But not some, I'll say some, but not. You can absolutely not do that in Destiny, even in Destiny 1. I don't know. Anyway, point being, love Destiny. The demo. Never actually played Destiny for real. Anyway, now we're gonna get on to, if I can, your list, sir. So let me get rid of all these games. And I know we've been going for quite a while now.
I'll
So
fly
you
through mine. I don't have.
don't have to fly through it. You can take your
I'm
time.
not super. I don't have super nostalgia.
Hold on. I'm gonna check it.
Probably at an hour. I think we'll be.
Why does it look like that?
Does it look like?
Okay. We're good. Hopefully.
Are we ready?
Hold on. This I might have to cut out this goofy.
I could also
mess.
just start, and you could add them.
I just want to make it so that I can type this stuff in, but I could barely see anything going on. Okay, I'm ready.
Good. So we're starting from the very, very beginning. I had absolutely no game consoles, nothing.
Hold on.
remember-
Before you go into nostalgia games, let's talk about your top 5 of all time.
Probably the game that so this is a nostalgia. I think my favorite game of all time is probably Fallout 4. I have it on my list, but I wouldn't say it's really nostalgic. I mean, it kind of could be too, because I have a lot of memories of it. Like, I remember, my friend group at the time were so excited for it. I never had played any Fallout game, but my friends and I were so excited for it at the time. And I remember you brought it up, but I played Fallout New Vegas in preparation for it. Like, I was trying to figure out what Fallout was about because Fallout 4 looks so cool. So I played that.
You like Fallout 4 more than you like Fallout New Vegas?
Oh yeah, Fallout 4 is by far my favorite game. And I wouldn't say it's because of nostalgia. I think it's just like the building features is a huge selling point for me that no other Fallout game has. I love the story. I think it's super, super good. Like, I remember I was super into it when I started, and it's something I can go back and replay and still enjoy.
Yeah.
I love the collecting. Like, I'm working on it now in my Fallout game. I'm building a museum of every single collectible, every single item.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much to do. Fallout 76, I feel like lost a big charm that Fallout 4 had. And people love Fallout 3. I just can't get behind it. I feel like it's too clunky feeling and too green. Like, if you played it, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've
it's
heard
just green.
a lot of criticism.
It's like
I've
a
heard,
green
So
tint.
yeah, so what I've heard about Fallout 3 specifically is that Fallout New Vegas is just better than that. But
Yeah, New Vegas is
right. And so nobody likes Fallout 3 specifically because of Fallout New Vegas being so much better. But I've never heard anyone compare Fallout.
I don't think they're the same. Like, I think they're completely two different things.
Yeah. I feel like Fallout New Vegas probably falls more in line a game like I was talking about, versus Fallout 4 is more closer related to something kind of slightly more closer to like Skyrim. The things that you can do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gives you more. So I feel like, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I haven't played any of these.
So I Fallout 4, I think, like I said, the ultimate thing for me is the settlement building, right? So you can, throughout the game, you stumble upon these settlements, right? And you can build them up and add like defense, and you can creatively build buildings and stuff and like give homes for people. There's like a thing called a recruitment tower where people will naturally start coming to your town, but also there are people that will come and attack your town as well. So you have to defend it and things like that. So it's like a whole nother game inside of this RPG style game already. Like, that's already super fun and a good story. So cool. I find myself building and stuff more than I do the story. But that being said, I still think it's a great story. The story, I would say, is not as strong as New Vegas, and that's where I think the two can combat each other. Is the story in New Vegas is so much better but 4 has that building aspect and more like gameplay.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I meant in that there's Fallout 4 seems more like sandboxy. Yes. And that's why I say it's more like Skyrim, in that Skyrim is more sandboxy, but Outer Worlds is more storyline driven, like heavily relies on that.
So moving on, my other game, and this is in my rotation, it's also A little bit nostalgic because the thing is I don't really play. I don't have a lot of newer games that I play. I kind of play just the same games.
I feel that. That's valid. There's nothing wrong with that.
So it's Sims 3. I play 4, but not as much as I play Sims 3. Sims 3 was the first Sims game I've.
Would you say that Sims 3 is the peak of the Sims, or is Sims 4
Yes.
better?
No, Sims 3 is definitely better, and I'll tell you why in a second. But so my origins of Sims 3 is pretty interesting. So I had a friend who played Sims 3 and I didn't. But we would talk on the phone and like he would like play and kind of like talk about what he's doing and like we would make decisions together and like he would ask me like what kind of trait should I give this person and we would decide and he would tell me what's going on in his game. We would help each other out. So I got really into it. And so I remember I got the game. I think I got like a gift card for my birthday or Christmas or something. And I got the game and it was on my dad had a laptop and it was definitely not a good laptop. So the graphics were all the way down. And I remember the game would take like 20 minutes, maybe even longer to actually start up.
Yeah.
So it was the whole experience that I would have to wait forever.
Yeah.
And the game is notoriously like that's something that's still a problem.
Yeah.
People that play on like modern computers. But now, like it took me forever to be able to play this. I had a pretty nice computer. I'd say nice. It was kind of clunky, but it had good like specs. And I couldn't play it. And then I got this new computer and I still couldn't play it. So after I was researching different things and figured out how to finally open the game, I could open the game finally.
Oh, wow.
But the game was so slow and laggy and it didn't work. Well, there's a whole lot of mods that you can get to get the game functioning. Now it runs perfectly and smoothly. And now it's like all I play when it comes to that. So I just love it. There's so much to do in the game. Just a lot. I love Sims 4. Sims 4 feels like a lot of where games are going these days. It's just not made with love. I don't know if that's the best way to say it.
Okay, so what I know about Sims 4 is I had a friend. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm drinking fancy. Sorry, folks. I had a friend who loves Sims who plays the Sims for $50 on every pack that they come out with every single time they come out with a pack, and that just seems not fun, good, not enjoyable. None of those things. Seems none of those.
Pretty sure if you buy all the packs and stuff, it's about $1,000.
Yeah, it's just seems just goofy to me. Which I mean, that's over time, right? It's over. A wide, but that's also $1,000. But yeah, so anyway, that's what I know about Sims 4, so I can see where it's another one of those things that's become kind of anti-consumer. You'd almost rather just play the early bit.
So I played Sims 4 when it first came out. Like I bought it, and Sims 4 was broken when it first came out. Crashes all the time, lagging all the time, and just nothing worked, right? Well, then the game eventually got fixed to an extent. It started working and more functional. And then you have the first DLC was like, so you could run stores. Well, the thing is you can hire employees, but the employees did not do anything that do. And this is still a problem in the game, right?
Yeah.
And that is pretty much building up all of the same DLCs. And the problem is the more and more the like later we go, there's less to do in the DLCs, but it's the same amount of money, right?
Yeah.
Like the world, the two base game worlds, there's so many different houses and stuff that you can go to. The new DLCs are maybe like 2 houses and a couple community buildings, and that's it. Like seems like it's downgrading so much.
Yeah.
And so DLCs are barely ever working. There's not much to even do. They're expensive. And now The Sims comes out and says that they're not making a new Sims game. They're going to keep updating this one. They're going to keep adding to this one. And so that's like, oh, okay, that is awful because this game is broken. And they really
also think about how much money they're making.
Of course. They released a newer pack, which is a good pack. It's called Businesses and Hobbies. And you can basically just make stores and restaurants, things that there was 2 separate DLCs for already, right? But this time they actually work. They have these other DLCs that were supposed to do the same thing. So now they're not even updating their packs. They're just re-releasing a new DLC to do the same thing.
It's tough.
It's awful.
Yeah. And then, so here's
same thing with Nintendo.
Right.
I'm still buying them.
Right, exactly. So that's why at this point I'm not buying any of that crap. No more. I refuse. I got my games that I like to play, and that's all the games I need. That said, why do all that when you could respectfully have The Sims 3 or have The Sims 4 and download mods instead?
And it's awesome because of the modding community for Sims 3 and Sims 4 too are awesome, right? There's so much stuff that you can do just by mods. So yeah, I love doing that, and I think that both games are very fun. I mean, I have thousands and thousands of hours in 4, so I can't really complain. But that being said,
Yeah.
It's
Before,
not a very functioning game.
so I do want to move into the next one. Before we do so, I just want to add to the note. Game developers, people releasing games, game publishers, bro. You see all these modders out there. People love these mods. Hire some of these modders. It's been done before in the industry. Keep doing it. Do it more. I digress. So number 3, you have a number 3?
By the way, this was in no specific order. I want to say that.
That's fine.
Because I can't really tell you.
I'm surprised I haven't heard one in specific.
Well, so I want to say, I guess I'll say it now because I think I know what you're talking about. So TW, I want to say the reason why I haven't really said TW and I didn't really plan on it was because I don't really love one specific one.
Which one?
It's kind of the series of itself. The most recent one's 9. If I had to pick, I'd say 2016 because that was the first one I played.
So I'm just gonna click the 9 to have the placeholder of.
Is that on that list?
It is in the. So when I looked up TEW, it showed up. Yeah, Total Extreme Wrestling. Oh, there is 2016's in here. I'll put that on there.
2016 was the first one, and then the first one I played. There's a bunch. And then there's 2020, which came after that, which I enjoyed, and then 9, which, like we talked about in the last episode, 9 is pretty much the same as 20, but it's just a little bit different.
Yeah.
So
yeah, funny story. That's not actually.
Oh, that's not.
No, and we have talked a lot about TEW, so because we talked a lot about it last episode, so we don't have to get too deep into it. I did want to hear. Yeah, so I think it's on the. I could be wrong, but in my head, you have up there at least in the top 5. Gotta be GTA, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's hard because I don't really know what to put because, like, again, I don't really play it that much anymore, but I still do. I guess the fact that I still every once in a while come back to it means that it's definitely up there in the top favorite games. But also,
even when back in the day when you did play it a lot, bro, like.
Yeah.
That game, when did that game come out, bro?
That may be, that's probably the second most played game I've played, the most of.
Second only to TEW?
No, not TEW. I bet TEW's not the top.
You don't think TEW's at the top?
No, it could. I don't know. It doesn't count the
hours wise.
I don't think so.
So much TEW, but I don't know.
No, GTA is unbelievable. Because if I would go back on so I played it on Xbox 360. Hours and hours and hours, like a whole lot of hours.
Yeah.
Played on Xbox One a shit ton of hours on multiple accounts. So if you go back on multiple accounts, you can add them up. And then I played it on PC, thousands of hours for sure.
Yeah.
So that one, GTA 5, that obviously it should be on the list. Yeah. So I mean, I've played through the story tons and tons of times. I'm probably gonna play it one more time before GTA 6 comes out.
Right.
Play with a bunch of mods, play online. I played a shit ton online on multiple different accounts. Got to 100 on both.
Right, respectfully, right. One of my GTA experience is somewhere out on the internet. Do not look for it. If you find it though, good for you.
We're gonna do it again when GTA 6 comes out. By the way,
we have to do that. But that is all of my experience playing GTA. And still, I can acknowledge that GTA is one of the greatest games of all time. GTA 5 specifically.
And I'm going to bring that into a nostalgia pick real quick, because I'm not doing mine in any order or anything.
No.
GTA San Andreas. That was actually on my nostalgia list. It wasn't really top games, but it was one of those games, one of the first few, because I played pretty much exclusively GameCube, because that was the only console I was allowed to have when I was growing up. So I basically played a lot of Nintendo games growing up, but I had a really close friend that lived across the street at the time, and we'd go over and play games, and he had San Andreas, and there was no way I would have been actually allowed to play GTA San Andreas.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was over at his house, so we played it, and I remember I would go over to his house, and he would just let me come over and play, and he'd go do something else or whatever, spend time with his family or whatever. I'd just be in his room playing for hours, just driving around, not even playing the story. I didn't know the story. It was something about it was so fun to me.
Yeah.
And then obviously I ended up growing up and was able to play. To put it in perspective, the game that I was playing that reminded me a little bit of it at the time was the Cars video game.
Okay. Before you say that though, you've just unlocked a whole memory in my brain. Not the Cars, but just the idea of just running around in a game, not knowing what the game is about or caring about the game as much, and just existing in that world or whatever. I totally, understand that. Because I remember, I don't even know which Sonic game it was. I think it was Sonic Adventure 2 or something on the GameCube. It was one of those Sonic Adventure games. My brother played the crap out of the game, so I was never allowed to play it. or do anything, but I ran around in the overworld or whatever the hub world in that game was for so long, just goofing off. So
I remember
that
like
feeling, that's definitely a feeling I'm sure people understand.
at this time period, like that would be something that was pretty common with me, is just doing the free roam aspects of games and like not really playing the game for what it is, but just
Yeah.
like using my imagination and making up like stories and stuff.
Yeah,
And while I
that's
was
so
playing
fun.
around and roaming around, and Cars was a big one like that. I loved playing Cars. I just drive around forever. I remember I definitely beat the game, but I don't remember anything about the actual like storyline of the game or anything actually like to do in it. Just so fun. And I remember it was like a couple years ago. I had a GameCube, and then over at my grandma's there was a PlayStation 2, right? So when I was at home, I'd play GameCube. When I was at my grandma's house, I'd play PlayStation 2. But I remember I had a copy for both consoles because I loved it so much.
It's
And I
so
remember
valid.
I recently got it, like I said, like a couple years ago. I had gotten the PS2 from my grandma's house, and Cars was in it. It was the only game that survived from that era, from the PS2.
That's wild.
Cars was inside the console. Such a nostalgic thing, and I played it for a while, and I still got the PlayStation with Cars. I didn't even take Cars out; it's still in the console.
You know, I'm low key surprised that you didn't play like GameCube, didn't it? I'm surprised you
Simpsons was something I was not
allowed
allowed
to?
to watch stuff like
That's
that.
wild.
Yeah, and so I never got into Simpsons. I know you, as you know, I love Simpsons
Since
now,
nowadays,
but
yeah.
I never
I think
I never watched
definitely,
Simpsons until like
yeah.
2020.
Yeah,
It was when
bro.
it got put on Disney
So
Plus.
a lot of this is making me think, and this is something that I want to bother you about probably post podcast, whatever. I've always wanted to gaming channel with a group of friends. Like that's a lot of the playthroughs of games that I watch nowadays. And so like you made me think about it really when you were talking about The Sims and when you doing it with your friend. And I'm like, because that's like 70% of the content I consume on the internet nowadays. Especially since that's the only way I can find people who play the obscure games that I love. So playing, I think that would be totally so fun. Just playing random obscure titles, not necessarily even obscure titles, but titles that people don't really watch nowadays, but will look up when they want to watch, you know? So like Sims 3, or like I was watching the other day somebody play one of my favorite games, but also didn't make the cut. It should have made the cut for nostalgia. It's called Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans on the DS, another turn-based RPG, and it's I'm gonna make a video about it one day. Underrated gem. Also, not a great game, but so nostalgic for me. Also, I love that game so much. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So this is gonna be. I don't know if I was supposed to have a certain amount of top favorite games.
Okay, so we have 4 so far. I was looking for one more for your top 5. You know.
Okay, good, because I have one more. So
Perfect.
my last one is Minecraft, of course. That is the game that I by far have the most hours in.
That makes
Without a
sense,
doubt.
actually.
Without a doubt. I played games, but I didn't really play games like I played Minecraft. And I think Minecraft was kind of what shaped me as someone that plays games.
Yeah,
I
dude.
played a lot of these games, but like I said, I would just roam around, not do much. I mean, I was like building everything I could. I'd spend hours and hours and hours playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
I would play with friends and things like that for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, there's
So I really should have put.
nothing like.
Honestly, I should have put Minecraft in my top 5. And looking at it, like for real, yeah, but besides, your top 5 is genuinely like I could definitely see this being a lot of different people's top 5. Like
Oh, sure.
you feel like more of a gamer than I do because I play very niche specific games and I play those games over and over and over again, you know? Point being, anyway, I wanted to get back to Minecraft because that's another thing I wanted to bring up. I remember where I was the first time I played Minecraft. Do you remember where you were? I'll tell the story after you answer the question, but do you remember where you were the first time you played Minecraft?
So there's two things. I think this is kind of an interesting thing. So what got me to want Minecraft in the first place, I feel like is kind of a thing because I don't know, it just kind of unlocked. I remember Minecraft was like, I had friends that would talk about it, right? And felt so left out. I had no idea what it was. And like, so I would just I'd feel bad. So then I forced, my parents to get it, but then I remember specifically because it was for Xbox 360 that I had it on. I remember I can like see it in my head.
Back in
My
the day
brother
when
and
there
I
were console
sitting
versions.
next to each other. Like we would sit next to each other playing it. And funny enough, I have the 360 right here. It's holding up my monitors.
That's wild. So I remember before Minecraft I think they had trees, had grass and shit. before the textures were finished, some kid comes up to me. He's like, yo, you gotta check this game out. I don't even remember what it was called. I'm pretty sure it was still called Minecraft. I don't remember.
I think it's always been called Minecraft, yeah.
No, but this was like early days. I don't even know if it had a full name. It had a finished set name yet. Because he had it, check it out. It's free right now. It's in beta or whatever, or in whatever. And literally all he did was put dirt down and then build a roller coaster. And that was all Minecraft was at that point in time. I remember that day, and that was freaking just so far ago and so awesome to me that was like just an experience in the back of my mind. And so, yeah, so Minecraft may be the number one game, low key, maybe the number one game of all time. If anybody's got to take it, it's probably Minecraft.
Yeah, there's no way anything's different. Anything's
right,
higher
the
than
best-selling game of all time, like for a good reason.
I don't think there's anything even close to Minecraft, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
The closest I can say probably the closest would honestly probably be GTA 5.
Low key, yes. Low key.
Other than that, I don't know.
GTA 5's up there, right? But yeah.
Something that came to mind was WoW, but WoW I think died off pretty.
Yeah, that's true.
Died
that's
off.
True. WoW was,
but that was big. It was big for its time. At its time.
So, yeah, man. Games. I love games so much, and I could talk about games forever. So your top 5 is looking like Fallout 4, Sims 3, TEW, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Minecraft. That is a pretty good top 5. That's a pretty legendary top 5. I can't.
I mean, it's pretty basic though, if you think of it.
It is pretty basic.
But TW is like the niche.
TW is the nichest of me. So you have some flavor in there for sure. And a lot of people would switch out like Fallout 4 for like Skyrim or something. Another one of those games by, what is the studio that makes those? I forgot. Bethesda, another one of those Bethesda games, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, no, because all I could think of was Obsidian at the moment, because I like Obsidian games. I'm not a huge fan of Bethesda games, other than is Diablo.
Plus they're owned by Microsoft. Right, bunch of losers.
Is Diablo a Bethesda game? No, I'm not sure. But I loved Diablo. Diablo's a good game, but
Diablo's by Blizzard. I knew that.
Oh, Blizzard. Okay. Right.
A bunch of other scumbags.
Yeah, that's true. Different group of scumbags. Start with B. Anyway,
okay, we got Cars and San Andreas for my.
Only those two. You don't want to talk about any other?
No, I got more. I was just
okay. So that's what I wanted to get onto. Let's talk about some of those.
Okay, so now we're gonna go all the way back. We're gonna go to the first game
that you ever played.
Before I had that, I can remember that I had a. I never had a console. I went over to a house that I have never seen, and I don't think I've seen since. This was a long time ago. We played, and this still could be one of the best, just by nostalgia alone for me. Kirby Air Ride.
Oh, valid. 100% valid. You know they're coming out with a sequel. Why do they have to be coming out with so many good games on the worst platform of all time, Switch 2? I'm so mad. Anyway,
Kirby Air Ride, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, especially from what I said about Cars and San Andreas. Just cruising, you like the game. I remember playing with like friends or whatever once I had it, because I eventually had it on GameCube. And I would make people mad because they would be playing the game like they're playing the games you're supposed to, and I'd just be roaming around like having these little like things in my head, like making up stories and stuff in my head, playing or like being very like, creative and imaginative while they were actually like playing the game. To be honest, I don't even remember what the objective of the game was.
I mean, I thought it was a racing game, but it's been so long.
I think so. I think it was a racing game, and they also had like a combat mode.
Yeah. They had
some sort of combat mode.
But anyway, Kirby Air Ride 2 is a thing that's going to happen.
I mean, that might be worth getting a Switch for it.
Honestly, I'm getting a Switch 2 for Kirby Air Ride, especially since the guy who developed that, and...
Oh, really?
Right,
that's
the original one, right. Because he was, at the time, he was like 14 or something. He also made Smash Bros. Melee, which is one of the most legendary games of all time to this day.
That's my favorite one.
Right, it's the best. Smash Bros. By far. Respectfully.
Brawl's good too.
Smash Bros. Is another nostalgia game, but it just doesn't hit the same chords because I guess Smash Bros. Is a legendary game.
Like though. For me, when you were talking about a lot of the Nintendo games, I was thinking of them in Smash Bros. Because I didn't play those games.
Yeah, and oh my god, I forgot that we had my dad had like a bunch of legacy consoles. So around the same time I played Luigi's Mansion for the first time as like a adult with a brain, not adult, but a person with a brain. I was still a teenager, who could understand what they were doing, you know, more. I also played so many Nintendo 64 games because I found those too, like freaking Pokemon Stadium. Oh my god! And so, have you played any Nintendo 64 games? Just out of curiosity.
Not like obviously when they came out. I played. There's a Spider-Man 64.
Oh my god!
Amazing. That video is gone. I made a video.
Yeah,
And I deleted. I think I deleted that. I don't know why I deleted that.
I remember that.
That video was so good.
Oh man, it was good. That was a good video.
I don't remember. That was like the only one I remember. But I love that game. It was so fun.
Spider-Man 60.
I can't believe I deleted that video. I'm like really mad at myself now that I'm like thinking about it.
There's so many good old games that are just so good. Oh man.
But I'm gonna keep it moving.
Yeah.
This one I bet you've never heard of. And that's Sid Meier's Pirates.
How do you spell that?
E-Y-E-R-S, I think.
But the Sid, is it S-Y-D or S-I-D? M-Y-E-R?
No, sorry. Okay. It's M-E-I-E-R.
Sid Meier's Pirates. This is the same guy that made Civilization, Sims Golf.
That's a good one. I've never played that. I've never heard of it.
Oh, I feel like I know this game for some reason.
So it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, not self-explanatory. It's pretty simple. You go, you start as a ship captain and you sail around, and obviously you attack ships. And there's these little villages that you can go to, little islands, and you go to islands and you recruit people to join your ship. You can upgrade your ship. You can buy new ones. You can attack these islands.
You know what you made me think of, bro?
It's relaxing. It's fun. Black Flag by Assassin's Creed Black Flag?
No.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag?
No, much older game.
That's what made me want to buy that game, was Black Flag, but go ahead.
Wow. Yeah. So no, my dad used to play, so a lot of games I play I play because I watched my dad play, because my mom was employed way back in the day and he was a cable guy, so his schedule was a lot less, whatever. But point being, he would play Age of Empires, bro.
That's a good one. I love that game.
I remember so many times sitting in front of his computer while he wasn't around playing Age of Empires, bro. And I didn't even know what was going on, but it was just so much fun to explore. And then, click the guy, click the woods, click the guy, click the build this. Oh my god, Age of Empires is the original. Oh my god, there's so many games, mobile games now that just use that Age of Empires formula, bro. And it's like, I hate mobile games, but especially those kind of mobile games, goddamn, it was such a good formula that it has withstood through all that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy to me. Probably, oh my god, if we were talking about before Minecraft, this was probably up there for one of the greatest games, most influential games, I should say, of all time.
We're on the last topic of Nintendo here.
Yeah.
Can you guess what my most nostalgic Nintendo game is that's not Kirby?
I think Nintendo games we played together. Oh my god, one for me for sure is I made you play it. You didn't want to play it. Mario Strikers.
It's not Strikers. It's a Pokemon game.
I did make you play that game. That was so much fun though. I love Mario Strikers.
Okay. Pokemon Fire Red.
Fire Red. Aha. Interesting.
It's the only Pokemon game I have ever played. Never finished it, but I loved it. I played so much. Like, I'll always get like a Game Boy emulator and I'll play it. And it's like every once in a while I'll do it. I even got a virus on my phone for one time and just left it on there so I could play the game.
Valid, bro. 100% valid.
And then eventually deleted it because my antivirus kept telling me that it was a virus.
Yeah,
but I loved it, and I did a couple, 2 or 3 videos with you.
Yeah, I remember that. We should. That's another game we have to play through together as a team. Yeah. So there's so many old games that we should definitely play through together. So this is the announcement of our new Let's Play channel. Oh no, I'm playing. But
we'll work on it.
But for real, man.
And this one's pretty self-explanatory. We talked about in the last episode.
Yeah.
WWE 2K6. Basically, my love of wrestling spawned from that game. Nothing more really needs to be said.
Yes, we did talk about that. Yeah. 2K.
This one is kind of crazy. Shrek 3.
Shrek 3? What the hell was that on?
PlayStation 2.
Are you sure it wasn't Shrek 2?
No, it was Shrek 3 because I remember it was basically the plot of Shrek 3. Everyone's favorite Shrek movie, Shrek 3.
I don't remember Shrek.
I loved it. And there was you could get like skins and stuff for Shrek, and for Donkey, like it was like customizable, and everything.
Yeah.
It was so fun. It was much more fun than the movie, I can tell you. But it was one of the games that I played when I was staying at my grandma's house during summers, and I definitely played a lot. It was one of those.
Shrek the Third is what it probably was. Yeah. Video game. Might have screwed it. Okay, Shrek the Third. Let me see if that pops up. Yep, that popped up. That's crazy. Crazy. Wow. Shrek
Like I like Shrek
2
too,
was
but
one
Shrek
of the
the
ones
third
for
was.
me, and Shrek the third was one for you.
And there's a theme here.
No, go ahead.
Because the next game on my list, Assassin's Creed. I know you said you were talking about
Yeah.
that.
Valid, bro. Valid.
That one's so good. And also, I mentioned Black
I
Flag.
had
Black
it on
Flag's
there
a
for
really
so
good one
long.
too.
Yeah, Black
But
Flag is so good.
three was
So,
just so good. And I love
yeah.
so I am big on I'm a big history buff. And one of my favorite like time periods to learn about is the Civil War. And this game was
Yeah.
based in the Civil War.
Yeah. It's a
And I
good game.
think I think Connor
Mhm.
is an amazing like character, and it's unique. It's a Native American,
And he's also, honestly, the character with the most personality outside of Ezio, probably.
and there's so much story. Like you learn about his father, you learn
Yeah.
about his mother, and like you learn about his village, and like you see so much, and there's so much emotion in him because you watch his whole village burn down, and like there's so much story. I love it. I love
It's
the
a-
whole game. It's a
Yeah.
timepiece. Like
Yeah, I do love that
Assassin's
game.
Creed are good timepieces, but this one is an
Man,
amazing
I had
timepiece.
3 up there before I let nostalgia creep into my mind and changed it with 2. But so I do have a small vendetta against Assassin's Creed 3. I'll tell you the story.
I wonder if it's gonna be the same one I have.
No, I guarantee it's not. I was
Okay.
playing. I hope not. It has to do with a glitch. Actually, oh my god, it might be the same. Here I am sitting in my dad's basement playing Assassin's Creed 3 for the first
So
time.
far, it's exactly the same. Those are my dad's basement. No, I'm kidding.
Playing Assassin's Creed for the very first time, and I'm loving every second of it, and I am not stopping. Like, I literally made it through the prologue. I made it through like probably about half the game, right? And I'm just running around in the world, and then everything pauses. The screen goes completely white, and it starts screaming at me in this pitch black basement where I was just playing the game. I was scared shitless, bro. I jumped out of my seat. I ran upstairs, and then I didn't come back downstairs for like 5 whole minutes. It was I got jump scared by Assassin's Creed 3. So that's my Assassin's Creed 3 story, and that's why I have a vendetta against it. That's part of the reason why I switched, as shallow as it is, Assassin's Creed. But go ahead, sorry.
So that's not mine, but I do remember I would play I was nearly finished the game, and I could be wrong, it was the last mission or close to the last mission of the game. And so it's this part, and I can't really remember all of it, but you're running through it's like basically just a lot of running and things are blowing up, and I'm in you're in a ship, in like a burning down ship, and you're running through it, and every single time I would keep playing it over and over again, and I would get stuck. I don't know what I was getting stuck on, but I would get stuck.
I remember exactly.
And
I do have a similar memory.
And I remember I'd play it over and over and over and over again, and I could not do it. I would play it like on and off for weeks, and I would not be able to get this part done. I don't know why. I'm not usually like this with games. I was determined to finish. I think it was because I was so close, and I knew I was so close.
Yeah, so I will say, sorry, just about Assassin's Creed games real quick. That's the thing that happens in more than one of them. I've had to stop throwing my head at a wall and look up a tutorial of what it wants me to do, because it's just so, there's not clues sometimes in these Assassin's Creed games that there needs to be especially since there's not really like a HUD like a lot of games have. Because especially since there's not really a HUD like a lot of games have. And so, and some of the parkour is like, you just gotta hope that it works the way you want it to work.
Yeah.
My Discord is having some issues.
As long as it's not affecting you on your right.
It is affecting me because now it's just showing my little icon, which is funny and cool, but hoping for.
Oh, you're recording.
But how was I supposed to record your camera? Or were you gonna send me that too?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I was gonna doesn't matter for people listening, but I recorded I recorded you on Discord, and then I just used my camera like in OBS, but it doesn't really matter. I don't know why I was shocked by that.
That's helpful.
It works the same way.
Yeah. Because anyway.
I was gonna say about Assassin's Creed anyways. So I would play it over and over again, and I remember like one time it was like I stopped playing it, like I gave up. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna finish. And like a couple months later, I run right through it, and it sucks because it was just so annoying because that was literally the end of the mission. Like once I got through that ship, it was over. So it was so frustrating. But I remember I had to replay the whole entire mission, so it was so frustrating to go all the way back and do it because of this ending part.
Yeah, that was another part about that game that was frustrating. There were a lot of missions just like that where there was one part you'd get stuck on and you have to play through this mission from the beginning, and it's like especially so I will say that happened to me a lot with the early missions in the game, in the prologue actually. Because I just got so mad. I did not want to play as this dude anymore. I was sick and tired of him. I was like, let me play the rest of the game. Because I don't know if maybe I'm just bad at Assassin's Creed 2. But there's some that's what I'm saying, because there's some like climbing puzzles where you have to climb so specifically, and it's hard to tell what you're supposed to do. But I could be wrong. Did you have a similar experience with that?
I know the climbing was sometimes like you wouldn't go where you
Right. I think that's kind of the
or like you'd be jumping, you'd be on buildings and you just and then you want to go.
Exactly. So that would
Yeah.
make, especially when there were like, so when you're a 100, I don't know if you did this, when you're 100%ing it, there's a lot of, get this one collectible, you have to climb up this specific building, this specific way, and there was no other way to get to that collectible, and with climbing not being as responsive as you'd hope, you know, and as and not going the right way, you'd have to do the same shit over and over and over and over. Oh man. But still,
I do hate games when they require you to do something like a specific way, but the game is not functioning, does not function for you to do it. Something that bothers me is the WWE games are like that, where they'll say, do this, right? But the game doesn't function the way that you're telling me to do. And it bothers
the other part that sucks about that, yeah, I get that. So the other part that sucks about that, especially in Assassin's Creed, is that game is obviously built to allow you to play it the way like it's more sandboxy is the point of the climbing. So that's why it's kind of finicky, is because there's a lot of shit that you can do that you didn't think you could do, right? Which is cool, but you can't your cake and eat it too. You can't have it so have such a fluid way of it working, and then ask me to do this specific thing requires a much more rigid input, right? So, but that's my only real criticism of Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed.
And
valid.
Gary's Mod was what got me to get Steam in the first place. I remember I just had a laptop and I had only had Minecraft, and I would only play Minecraft. Garrys. You don't want to spell Gary?
I just didn't know whether it wanted me to put the apostrophe.
Gary, I'm sorry, I neglected you.
Anyway, but yeah, Gary's Mod.
I was gonna say that I was gonna repeat that song, but I forgot the lyrics, and that's sad because I used to know them.
Gary's Mod is probably also up there in, well, specifically, I guess technically Counter-Strike, right? And one of the most influential.
Half-Life.
Or Half-Life? Yeah.
Half-Life.
Yeah. But so I think Counter-Strike is also based on the Half-Life engine, though, right? So I think it's all based on the same.
I know there is Counter-Strike stuff in Gary's Mod too.
Right.
So
I think it's all on the same bones. I think Counter-Strike was made out of Half-Life, but Gary's Mod was as well. I don't know.
It's something like that.
But point being, yeah, probably also one of the most influential games of all time.
It's just creative, like completely.
Bro,
like
it's funny. It's funny because now all the things that you used to do in Gary's Mod, kids are doing in Fortnite and Roblox.
Yeah, exactly. You know, pretty much you hit the nail on the head with it. Yeah. Like that's the kind of vibe that God has, and I don't really think it's that popular anymore. I mean, obviously because they have Fortnite. But yeah, it's so creative. And honestly, Roblox is another one. I played that a lot, not recently, but I used to play that a lot. Like, it was bare bones.
I love how you had to say not. Make sure everyone knows you're not a pedophile.
It's a whole different vibe now. Like, I play it every once in a while, but it's like completely different. Like, it's hard to describe the feeling, but it was completely different.
It was like it was more like Gary's Mod back in the day.
Yeah, like, and I wouldn't even know how to go and like create like game mode stuff now, where I could back then.
Yeah.
And like I remember, like it would be nice. Like
now
you had a
whole
world
game designing engine for real.
Yeah, and like you would have like I remember everyone would have, I don't know if this is still a thing, everyone would have their own world. Right? You could create new stuff, but everyone specifically had their world, and it was like basically a little flat map, but there was a little house. And like you could create, you could search stuff, and it was cool because you could search. There was like stuff that was built into the game, right? But then you could also find stuff that people created. So it was like you basically had an endless amount of stuff to play with in this world, and it was basically the same things I'm saying about Roblox. It's the same with Gary's Mod, and they were both around the same time that I was playing. I played Roblox first, then I played Gary's Mod. I was becoming an adult, I was
something like that. Sure.
Teenager. I was like a kid to like a teenager though.
Yeah,
from Roblox
same
to
thing
Gary's
as me
Mod.
talking about when I was when I was playing Assassin's Creed 3 and got jump scared out of my face. Yeah, same idea. I was a fully formed adult in my brain.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much like if you look at the games that I play, it's all creativity. Like in a way, like I want to be creative. And I think that's, something that, looking back, because it was actually pretty good, because I never really like looked at my games, like listed on my games and stuff. Like it's pretty like an interesting perspective to put, because I'm seeing like the common theme was like just thinking creatively and my
being in a sandbox.
imagination.
All of these are very sandbox games.
Even like GTA, like I would do the same, like play
Right.
around with stuff. Now, if I play GTA, it's playing mods where I'm doing the things I would creatively do in my head. Just now they're
Right.
doing it for me.
Yeah. Now you're actually able to make it come to life.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that really is like that's kind of gaming in general. So for me, it's like a separate thing. So for you, like it's this creative space where you get to build a story, etc., etc. Because I play so many story-based games, and I did used to have that aspect a little bit as well. But I just get so it's definitely an escapism, but also, but I mean, especially when I was young, we kind of talked about it. We joked about it a lot, but going through all the things I was going through, right? The world was not a place I wanted to spend too much time when I could just stay with my Pokemon friends instead, you know? And that sounds really, really sad, but no, it really was like that tough, especially back in those days where where I'd get to come home and play Luigi's Mansion and stuff like that. Like that was truly my happy place. So yeah, I guess that's really where a lot of that nostalgia comes from, because I'm sure you have a similar experience in that we weren't the most popular kids either.
We talked.
And then oh, I'm sorry, you were the god of elementary school. I, on the other hand,
I grew up to being an adult that bases his life around professional wrestling, and you're saying I'm not popular?
All that said, man, games really were one of the biggest, most important parts of my childhood, honestly, and probably saved me from myself in a lot of aspects. So, but I'm glad we got to share our histories with games and our favorite games. Do you have anything? We're getting a little deep into the time here, so if you have any closing thoughts, feelings, yeah. So, I mean, I'd say if there's lots of games on here that I haven't played in a long time, or I haven't played at all on your list, that I definitely want to experience. Play Shrek 3. We can play Shrek 3. But
I'm expecting you to buy me Shrek 3 for Christmas is coming up.
Wait, on what? On the PS2? Because I have the PS2.
I also got my PS2s. This is important. Oh my god, $120.
Yeah. Retro games are expensive, bro.
Jesus Christ. Oh my, $13, and then
you owned Shrek 3 at one point, right? I'm not advocating for anyone. I am advocating for everyone. If the game is not available, find a way to enjoy it if you have to. That's my feelings on that. I won't say any more than that, but I will say
maybe one day we'll legally play it.
Yeah, we will.
Without paying $120.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know how you could record natively from a freaking. That's you'd have to
figure it.
I'm sure you just have to get like a HDMI to. I'm thinking about recording PS2 straight from the PS2. You know. Like, that's crazy.
Okay, so I'm looking up Shrek the Third, right? And there's a thing on the shopping when you go to Google, and it's from eBay, and it says Call of Duty Shrek the Third, and the picture is of Spider-Man 3. I really don't understand.
I don't either, but hey, that's gamers for you.
It's $35. I think we should buy it.
I don't. You never know what you're gonna get with that one, bro.
I'm probably gonna get like a different game completely. Like
you probably get like Barbie for the freaking
steal.
I swear to God, I only say that because every time you buy a game, so I buy a lot of old DS games because they're cheap most of the time. But sometimes you'll go to GameStop and they won't even know what the game is, but it's always Barbie. If the front of the game is scratched off and they have no idea what game it is, and they give it to you for $3, it's probably Barbie.
There's a lot of Barbie games at GameStop. Have you noticed that?
I don't know. I don't pay that much.
Like if you go through the used games,
probably a lot of returned Barbie games. That makes sense.
Why would you get rid of your Barbie games? I keep mine.
Anyway, on that note, this was a really fun time to go through and talk about all these games. I had a separate topic actually planned for today, so this was a little last minute. So I'm glad it went as well as it did. Let me switch back to the regular cam before I get too excited. Right. Anyway, point being, video games, guys, they're nostalgic nowadays, and retro games are better than paying $80 for the new Mario Kart. I was looking online, and I could buy a whole PS3 for $80. That has all the games on it that I have already played and owned. You know what I'm saying? And that's back, that place, some of them play PS1 games and PS2 games already pre-downloaded on there. So all I'm saying is, if they're not going to make it available, play the game. If they're not going to sell it to you, find a way to play the game if you want to play the game. Games should be enjoyed forever, and owned by the person who bought the game. I don't think that should be a crazy statement. I digress. What are you looking at, bro? I'm so glad I waited for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. I hope you enjoyed the Shuffle Up podcast. Next week, we will be shuffling it up and giving the show over to Jimmy for whatever he has planned.
Guys, I'm about to complain for like an hour and a half, probably. Get ready for that.
Oh, we're so excited for next week. And then the week after that, it will be the John Bellion episode. I promise you that. It probably won't be. Anyway, love you guys. Miss you guys. Whatever. Peace.